we have Iranian flags. This is like, look at the Iranian flags. Look at the Iranian flags. Don't you think Iran is like a fascist regime? Like an Islamist fashion regime?
That's true.
Yeah. Like they hang gays from cranes in Iran.
What happened?
They hang gay people from cranes in Iran.
How much for the American flag?
Okay, but it's not
During negotiations around the national defense.
Yeah. Well, the person who Trump killed was a terrorist.
Unity.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sign?
Got one of these. We're at the No War with Iran rally here in Foley Square. The sign says, "We refuse to be enemies." I don't know what that says, but it's in Arabic. Every Arabic. Oh, look. Yeah, look. I'm doing one of the strategies. I'm doing one of the strategies. I'm doing one of the strategies. We're doing one of the strategies.
Who are you guys?
Who are you guys?
I'm just myself. But who are you guys?
I'm myself.
You got a badge there? What's that?
It's a badge.
Where are you guys from?
Who am I from?
Yeah, where are you from? What group are you with?
I'm not with a group.
You got a mic? You got a camera? Who are you guys? Who are you guys? Who are you guys?
LP.
Huh?
Who are you?
No, you're not.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, man.
No, I said, who are you?
Who are? Oh, they said you're me.
No, I don't want to be you.
Oh, thank God. No, I don't want to be me either.
I thought this was you.
You fucking Andy, no wannabe.
I thought this one was you, by the way. I thought it was you masked up. You guys kind of look like similar body type. Are you trans? Because you look kind of pregnant.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. What did you say?
Nothing. I thought this was you, but just masked up.
Did you just ask me if I was trans because you said I looked pregnant?
Nope. I didn't do that.
Did you hear him? Did you hear him say that, Eric?
I didn't. I'm sorry.
You have a sign over here. It's No War with Iran. Can you tell me a little bit more about why you're out here, what it means for you to be out here?
Yes. Well, I'm very opposed to both the leaving of the Iran nuclear accord and the sanctions, and now the saber rattling. I think this country should not go to war again in the Middle East. Yeah.
So Trump's saying that he killed Soleimani, and that's a big win for the United States. Do you think that's a big win for the United States, killing Soleimani?
No, I think it was a political assassination that I believe is unlawful.
Doesn't matter that he's a terrorist and killed hundreds of Americans.
He is not my favorite individual, but at the same time, we don't conduct foreign policy through assassination.
Yeah.
And this is a very dangerous precedent that's been set.
Yeah.
And I think we should return to negotiations. The people of Iran deserve to develop and engage with the world, and we should be supporting the positive elements in Iran. And
Trump was saying that he was establishing deterrence now and that he's striking fear into the Ayatollah's heart. Do you think any deterrence is being established with the killing of Soleimani, and especially with how the Iranians responded, a kind of weak response, if you will?
No, I don't believe any deterrence was established. I just don't believe there's any rationale for what's the policy of this country towards Iran and much of the Middle East at this point.
Yeah. I had one last topic I wanted to ask you about. So in Iran, it is an Islamist fascist regime where they do oppress, gay people, and women don't have equal rights in that. They support terrorism in the area and around abroad. How do we combat against, Iranians' path of promoting terrorism and things like that around the world?
I think it's up to the Iranian people to select the kind of regime that they want. 70% of Iranians are urban, they're sophisticated, they tend to be liberal. It's up to them to, try to evolve their political system in a way that the majority appears. It's not our business, and we certainly shouldn't be punishing the Iranian people to achieve whatever ends this government, our government, is trying to achieve.
Are you concerned about the authoritarian fascists there, though, suppressing those people in Iran like they do? They kill protesters there in Iran, obviously anti-government protesters. So, do they have the opportunity for that even?
I'm not excusing the hardline faction of the Iranian government, but I don't believe the answer is sanctions and war.
Absolutely. Any other comments?
No, thank you for the interview.
Thank you so much for your time, sir. I really appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. I have a YouTube channel, independent.
So this guy actually has a YouTube channel that's like really right wing, and he's kind of a Trump supporter. So
I'm
I would
not
be
a-
so mad not to do that.
Did people tell you to say not to do that?
No choice, man. All right.
Did people tell you to tell people not to talk to me? So we're out here today in Foley Square standing in a protest against the war with Iran. Can you tell me a little bit more about why you're out here, what it means for you to be out here?
I don't believe that we should go to war with Iran.
Do you think the killing of Soleimani was a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't think I could say whether it was cut or dry, good or bad. I don't believe in good or bad people. I think that there are reasons why we choose to do things. Many people would label our country as a bad or evil country because of things that we've done in the past. And I'm sure that it seems like there's an agreement that he was a quote-unquote bad person, meaning that he had killed people.
Yeah, well, killed hundreds of Americans. Shouldn't, the American military go after people who've, killed American servicemen?
I think in theory it makes sense, but in practice we see the way that causes, they say you kill one terrorist and you create 20 more. The Iranian people seem to love him. And
some do, right? We don't want to believe all the Iranian propaganda. Not everybody in Iran love this guy, right?
Sure, but he does have vast support in Iran, and when you kill someone like that, you embolden many others to follow through and continue hating America or whatever. The fact is, it's like, as someone who's right-wing, you hear a lot of people that are like, well, why would you push right-wing people or conservatives out of the conversation? Because it only makes their anger stronger, and it makes them, want to come at you stronger. It's the same thing.
You
It's
want
like,
to get on my good side, yeah.
I agree with that. I think that we should listen to all points of view and really try to understand how these points of view are made, why they hate America, because they do hate America and they do chant death to America. But when you have America come into a country that's poor but resource rich and plant down military bases and put their feet on resources and tell the people to fuck off, of course they would hate America. That makes sense to me.
Trump says he's trying to reestablish deterrence, and with the way the Iranians responded, do you think Trump did set fear into the Ayatollah's heart with how they're going to respond and deal with us in the future?
I do not know. I would assume he set fear because we are the most powerful military force on earth. It's just that any time that I've put my faith in the American military, they've completely lost it.
Are you worried about the terrorist, fascist, Islamist regime in Iran perpetrating terror in the region, obviously abusing human rights issues, hanging gains from cranes, so on and so forth?
I'm not from Iran. If those things were happening in America, I would say as an American this is wrong, but I don't know the culture. I've never lived there. I think there's a lot more depth to that and the way that you grow up. And
isn't that moral relativism, though, with hanging gays from cranes?
It's absolutely a moral relativism thing, and I hate to pull that argument, but it's like, I don't have another way to say it.
Do you think do you think Iran's become a more powerful or a weaker country since Trump became president?
I think in terms of, overtly on the world stage, they've lost power. Abandoning the Iran deal makes them lose legitimacy in the eyes of the governments that matter.
And money and ability to support terrorism.
Absolutely, and support their people. But in the same way, it's emboldened the more, terrorist, overt side of their power, and it's only made them hate us more, and I don't think that's good.
I had one last topic I wanted to talk to you about. Ilhan Omar said that sanctions are a form of warfare. Do you think that sanctions are a form of warfare, or that's a little bit extreme?
No, I do. We look at something like the Cuban embargo, and it's done far more to disrupt people's way of life, regular people. Business owners and wealthy Cubans have been doing just fine through the embargo. And obviously the Chavez regime, the leaders of Cuba are still there. We haven't changed.
Let me follow up to say, because Ilhan Omar calls for BDS against Israel, so is that her calling for warfare against Israel because you said sanctions are a form of warfare?
First of all, that question is irrelevant on this stage because we're talking about Iran. But if we want to go down that path...
No, because we need to be consistent with, if we're calling sanctions warfare, that's what she said. She consistently calls for sanctions against Israel. Is she calling for a form of warfare there against Israel?
I think it's hard because you're not punching down, you're punching up. Israel is extremely powerful. They have
I don't know if we're consistent then on how we view our view sanctions then, right?
I'd agree. There's a lack of consistency there, and that's a good question. And I think that we need to think about when we were throwing out, phrases like sanctions or war, and then on the other side of our mouth, we're asking for sanctions against Israel. But the context is really important. You can't just walk away from the context of Israel being a powerful country that is imperialist and is causing a lot of issues themselves. They're killing people, taking over land. It's different.
Interesting. Just quickly in conclusion, anything else you want to mention?
I don't think that you need to be, it's not one side or the other. I think that we should all be against war. If you're a sane human being, you could have watched for the last 20 years as we have lost lives and money and international standing by meddling in the Middle East.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
I'm also not a realist when it comes to politics, so I think that people that believe that we need to be strong and powerful are not going to agree with me.
Yes, no, we do not.
And I just think that we could move towards a different path in global politics.
Absolutely. Thank you again for your time, bro. I really appreciate it. Thank
Who are you guys?
My name's Elad.
Elad, where are you from?
What do you mean, where am I from?
Where are you from? Like, you got a camera set up, you got a wireless microphone. Looks like you're representing an organization.
I'm not representing an organization.
Like you're making media for your channel. What's your channel? I love the internet. I love the YouTube. Yeah, you're on YouTube. What's your YouTube channel called?
I think that's enough questions.
What's your YouTube channel? Don't you want to hype it?
Yeah, look me up. It's called Elad. Elad.
What's it about?
It's about rallies and protests.
It's about rallies and protests? So what's your take on this rally?
You want to talk about it?
Yeah, well, I want to know your opinion. Because I love the internet and I love online videos and I want to know what your opinion is on this rally.
Okay. I think war with Iran's bad. I think it's an interesting rally.
Okay, cool.
Do you have any other questions?
No.
Okay.
But I'm really curious why someone who's making a video would hide their face from my camera.
Okay.
That was weird, right? That you would do that.
Well, I'll tell you
why.
if
you're making videos on putting them on the internet, you want people to know your face, right? But when I took a picture of you making a video, you hid your face. That's weird.
I want to ask you, why are you hiding your face?
My face is cold.
That's why you're hiding your face?
Yeah.
Why don't you think anybody else is covered up like that?
Because they're not as cold as me.
Are you,
do I have a cameraman? Do I have a wireless microphone?
No, but just like you said,
I have a cell phone.
I'm recording, so you're recording.
Yeah.
Why are you covering your face?
Well, I don't have a YouTube channel. You said
so
you
what do you have?
Nothing.
So what are you recording for right now?
I'm just curious what was going on. Is it like you said, it's an interesting rally. It's an interesting rally, and I'm recording it just like you, but I don't have a cameraman and a wireless mic.
Okay.
So I was just really excited to be near someone who's probably famous, like you.
Stop.
You're not famous?
No. Well, what's famous?
I don't know. You got a channel? You
Yeah.
have a channel, right? You have a YouTube channel?
I do.
Yeah? Because it's weird, because it's like, I heard you reading the poster. What were you saying about it?
I was reading it. So this says, we refuse to be enemies.
Right, and then you were talking about some other stuff.
And then I said we were at a rally.
A rally, yeah.
Foley Square, no war with Iran rally.
Right, and you want no war with Iran, right?
I'm against war with Iran.
You want no war, right? You're
no
anti-war?
War. I'm anti-war.
You want no wars in America?
Well, obviously no wars in America, but no wars in the Middle East.
You want no wars in the world?
Yes.
Yeah, you want there to be peace and equality all throughout the world?
Yeah.
Good. I like that. That's great, right?
Yeah. Why would you? Do you think otherwise? Do you?
I don't know. Some people think. Some people. I mean, if some people obviously think otherwise because we have to have a rally to remind people that war is bad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and racism's bad, right? And all like white supremacy's bad. Oh, they do, yeah, right? Yeah, some people make money from like YouTube videos, right?
Is that bad?
What, making money from YouTube videos? Yeah, YouTube stuff.
What's the right way to make money?
There's no right way.
What do you do to make money?
Work.
What do you do for work?
Stuff.
Yeah, what kind of stuff?
What do you do?
I make YouTube videos.
For a living?
Yeah.
That's weird. Keep it up.
Thanks.
All right.
So what do you do for a living?
From Brooklyn in the house.
Do you think that treatment was a little bit odd? His face is covered. Yeah. And he was making fun of me for covering my face.
No, I was making fun of you for hiding from a camera.
Well, he came up and he was like doing some of these, so I like blocked it out. Yeah.
So what's your YouTube channel called?
Don't
look it up. Tell me to look it up.
I'm no longer interested in talking to you.
What's your YouTube?
So we're out here today protesting against war with Iran. I see your sign says, you got the same one as me, we refuse to be enemies. Can you tell me a little bit more about why you're out here, what it means for you to be out here?
I'm out here in the cold to say, hey, no more war. Very simple. I mean, we've been doing wars from the beginning of time. Matter of fact, you did war against my ancestors of the. You know, this is the African burial ground. You're sitting on top of it right here.
This is an African burial ground?
Yes. The monument.
He's the sculptor.
Yeah, who built that monument?
You built this monument?
Yes.
Ah, oh shit. No, and this was built on an African burial ground. Wow.
Right.
So,
interesting. This is the central part where a lot of the protests take place. Occupy Wall Street took place here. I mean, you can just go on and on and on.
I want to follow up and ask you, Trump killed the terrorist, one of the Iranian terrorist leaders, Qasem Soleimani. Do you think that was a good move or a bad move?
Bad move. Anytime you kill anyone is a bad move. Yeah. I mean, our human beings is the most important than anything else.
Does it matter that this man killed many, many Americans and many of our allies?
What'd you say?
Does it matter that this guy killed many, many Americans and many of our allies?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, this president we have, which is, I don't think is our president, this is one of the most one of the most racist presidents we have ever had.
Yeah. Why do you think he's racist? Because what he's doing now in Iran?
Not only in Iran, but what he's doing in terms of black people in this country. You know, talking about Africa, the shithole of the world. I mean, and also talking about, there's some good people on both sides, and these Ku Klux Klans and racist motherfuckers, man.
I want to follow up with you in Iran, though, because they're definitely an Islamist fascist regime there. They support terrorism. They hang gays from cranes there. They don't have equal rights for women.
Right.
How do we promote equal rights within the country? How do we stop them from promoting terrorism? Because that's what they do in the region.
Well, man, it's a very hard thing for us to do something in that area. In terms of for human rights, I mean, it's very difficult because we got a lot of big problems here in this country too. But anything oppression, using religion as a tool to oppress people, it's just not right, man. It's just not right. I don't care how you twist that. I could be as Christian, Islamic, or any of the so-called religious structure.
Trump said he was establishing deterrence by striking fear in the Ayatollah's heart with these attacks as an act of deterrence, and especially on the heels of how they responded, sending rockets, missing on purpose.
Right.
Do you think this was a good act of deterrence, striking fear in the terrorist regime's heart there in Iran?
I mean, but he is a fear-mongering president. He wants to put fear not only in
terrorist hearts.
Right, but he wanted to put fear in everybody's heart.
Okay, well, he definitely put it in the Ayatollah's heart.
Of
Definitely
course,
scared
of course.
those guys. So.
And they got all upset about this, but they know that he's a fool.
Do you think Iran is stronger or weaker since Trump became president?
Well, I think, really, I think that they have been neutralized. Okay. More or less.
That's a good thing, right? We're neutralizing the.
Hopefully, there won't be no more war, no killing, no more. Hopefully, this act that he did was an act that hopefully can be a positive thing in the long run for overall war.
Absolutely.
We'll
see how it turns out, sir. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you. It's a cool sculpture.
And now they're trying to go to war against Iran, and they provoked this. Iran had a nuclear agreement, and from what I heard, even this $150 billion that they got back, it was their assets that had been frozen. We didn't give them $150 billion that they're claiming they used to kill, for their weapons. No, it's
Are you concerned that Iran's like a fascist terrorist supporting regime at all? That they like support terrorism with those funds at all? Like, is that a concern at all here?
I'll be honest. I don't know what they're exactly what they're involved. I don't know why they're supporting Assad in Syria, but I know that the guy they just murdered, Soleimani, was fighting against ISIS.
Yeah, well, like Russia's fighting against ISIS, Syrians are fighting against ISIS. Yeah, ISIS had a lot of enemies. But do you think killing Soleimani was a bad thing?
I think it was. Yeah, I mean, it's because of his rank, and it was a provocation. And I heard.
Well, wasn't it a response to the embassy being stormed that Trump they attacked Soleimani and killed him?
I think it was an pretext, because I heard on where I read it. I religiously devour the internet, and I heard that they occupy the people who they occupied the embassy for 2 days and they didn't kill anybody.
How should we have responded to our embassy being stormed? They also like shot down a drone. The Iranians also bombed like a tanker in the Strait of Hormuz. So how should we respond to like Iran doing those things?
You've asked some great questions, and from what I understand, this is all after. I'm sorry, I don't know the timeline. This is after Trump tore up the agreement and they imposed these sanctions. And you have to help me with this. I'm not sure how the sanctions works, but they cripple the economy. The people they punish are the people.
Yeah. Some people like Ilhan Omar was saying that sanctions are like an act of warfare. Do you think like sanctions are kind of like an act of warfare?
Yes, and it's against the people. I mean, look at Trump's mentality of destroy all this great culture. It's been 3,000 years. That's why I put these pictures of some of the greatest art in the world.
Well, I don't think he doesn't like the Persian people. I think it's the Persian government, right, that they have the problem with.
I don't think he cares about anybody. If he can put kids, Hispanic kids on the border, even have a word for those cages. They call them ice boxes. Anybody who can do that doesn't give a crap about a human being. Taking people off food stamps. He's basically, people say, oh, he's demented or he's crazy or he's whatever, but he is carrying out a ruthless working class, anti-working class program. It's the program of the working class to throw us all into poverty like the rest.
I have one last question for
yes,
you.
Please.
Since Trump became president, do you think Iran's become stronger or weaker?
You asked me a great question. In what way do you mean stronger?
Well, like their influence in the area and like in regards to supporting terrorism and their economy as a whole.
You asked me. I can't answer that, but I want to ask you because I've been a socialist for my whole adult life and been protesting, but I don't know exactly what Iran is, where they're fighting. There are so many places in the world where these are anti-imperialist fights, like what Israel has done. Half my family's Jewish. I can say this, that Israel is run by right-wingers the way our government is. And
they have a parliamentary system. It's not completely right-wing, and it hasn't always been right-wing either. So I just want to put that into context. If you're going to call Israel a settler state, they've had left-wing governments in the past. It was founded on a left-wing government originally. I just wanted to make that clear because Israel, like the founding, like you call it right-wing now, but that's just been like a decade or so. Just context here.
What's your YouTube channel called?
It's called Barely Informed with Elad.
Okay, you don't have to talk to this guy.
Yeah.
He's kind of an asshole. You don't have to talk to him.
No, I think you've asked great questions. Any chance you have to talk, but you know that who was it? Begin, who he said that it was fun. They were terrorists. They.
Can I ask you one question about Israel?
Of course.
So you were saying
no,
that's fair. No, that's
fair. I don't want to get
No, you'll be fine. I had one question though. You were saying sanctions are like an act of warfare earlier.
For the Trump organization.
What?
I don't
mind talking to anybody.
Okay. Can I? Okay.
But
one question.
Your
So we were saying earlier that sanctions are like an act of warfare, but Ilhan Omar is calling for sanctions against Israel. So is it like Ilhan Omar is calling for an act of warfare against Israel when she calls for sanctions like that?
A lot of this has to do with educating people because the thing that's so horrible is Palestinians and Israelis probably share 90% of the same DNA. They all come from that part of the world. We should
at least the Middle Eastern Jews that Israel is half of.
Right. And I think it's the greatest crime that I think that people who were so traumatized by Hitler basically are trying to make the Palestinians pay for it. They had nothing
I think that's
to
a little
do
bit
with,
extreme. I think that's a little bit extreme.
I think at one point the Zionists were looking for a place in Africa for a Jewish state.
Zionism existed prior to the Holocaust happening too. So just want to put that in context.
From what I understand, as a socialist in the 19th century, it wasn't even supposed to be a physical place. It was sort of a state of mind or something. Originally, it wasn't. But after the Holocaust, and also so many countries would not let Jewish refugees in.
And there's a lot of anti-Semitism everywhere. So
absolutely. It's absolutely true. But I just wish that if Israel weren't treating the Palestinians like, basically the Palestinians are the Jews in Israel.
It's a proud, proud day, Elad.
What?
I said it's a proud, proud day. I have some good news and some bad news for you. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah.
So the good news is I chatted with some friends, and their opinion is it's not actually worth warning people about who you are because your show is too pathetic for anyone to care about what you're doing. The bad news is it's so much fun to warn people that you're an alt-right troll, I might keep doing it anyway.